Alright, welcome back, baseball fans, to this Eliminating the Baltimore Orioles video. A shocking end of their season, though it wasn't really shocking, because this Baltimore team, their offense fell back. Their pitching really fell back. They were .258 batting average, now they're .237. They had a .260 team ERA, somehow ballooned to .396. They scored 165 runs, gave up 178. This is not a good baseball team at all. They are in that era that's suddenly in between the 69, 70, 71 World Series teams. And they're waiting. They're going to have to wait patiently for the Eddie Murrays, the Scotty McGregors, the Mike Flanagans, all the young stars who come along in the late 70s, early 80s to bring them another crown. But they're not here yet, Cal Ripken included, of course. But they're kind of in the weeds, in between. And in this particular cast, you know, Al Bunbury did a nice job. Didn't hit lefties very well, so he had less than 100 plate appearances. Lee May had the batting average coming over with his Cincinnati Reds card. Didn't hit enough home runs, though. The young rookie DeCinces was a utility player, did a nice job. Tom Hutton, just ordinary. Kenny Singleton really slumped at the end there, was their all-star, but he faded in the second half of the season. You know, Earl Williams wasn't that awful. 6 homers, 20 RBIs for catchers, not bad, but, you know, they expected more when they got him from Atlanta. And then you've got the fading stars, Brooks Robinson, Bobby Grich, and Paul Blair, hitting .207, .207, and .188. That's... Mark Belanger hitting .137 is underachieving as well, for what that's worth, but that's awful. Pitching, got to start with Jim Palmer's disastrous year. 5-8. A .421 ERA and a .135 WHIP aren't horrible, but well below his standards. Cuellar was fine, though. Cuellar had the best year of any Oriole pitcher, .294. Bullpen was decent, really. Minus Dyer Miller was awful. I mean, Grant Jackson and Portland and Garland. Let's see who Baltimore brings back. They got a dozen guys to build the new Orioles out of. Take a look at them here. We begin with the very versatile, at this part of his career, Doug DeCinces. All infield spots. Hits lefties a little better than righties. You could play him a lot at short if you want a better bat than Belanger, so that's versatile. And then those three infielders who are all ones, Gold Glovers, are all coming back. Bobby Grich, fine card for him in '74. Brooksy's high batting, it's a high batting average for him. It's .288. Power's gone. And Belanger's a one at short as well, but his E rating's 24. Then in the outfield, here's Bunbury. Now that's great and all, but you know, you got to do something over here. It's not that good over there. Maybe they should just let him play every day, because the guy they platooned with him was awful. This guy, Dick Sharon, hit .203. Didn't hit any of those homers. Good defense. Didn't do it, but wasn't really worth the trouble. I don't know about Paul Blair, what happened with him, but he also had 3 homers and 4 RBI, which is, it meant that he had 1 RBI that wasn't himself, and 7 stolen bases for the diminished center fielder. Here's the great Singleton card. You're going to see it's an Expo version, because they made the Singleton-McNally trade sooner than it needed to be. Heck of a card. Does have a .365 on base with this card because of his walks. Now the pitching. He only won the Cy Young, Jim Palmer, and this card just flamed out this year. Also, 46 walks and 59 strikeouts, which is pretty pedestrian, really. Should do better than that. And one of the reasons we like this card so much is that he doesn't give up homers to lefties, and he doesn't give up a lot of walks. And he's a starter 9. Yet it didn't really work this year. He was in a slump. You have to think he'll come back next year and flip the slump. It'll be his last year with a 73 card. No big deal. Because we can move him into another ERA of 2 card. He'll have a better card or as good of a card as this moving forward. But we're sticking with this one. Young Wayne Garland was in the bullpen, but he's a relief 4, starter 6. You can move him into the rotation. He's going to win 20 games for you in 76. You could go to that card as well. You have Dyer Miller. He had a bad year, but he should have had a good year. 274 ERA in 75 and 46 innings. He played out to 594 earned run average and a 204 whip. That's unacceptable. So you figure he'll get better. And this is a fantastic Grant Jackson card. One more year with it. A lefty who gets righties way out in a relief 3. You could weaponize Grant Jackson if you were a playoff team, but the Orioles sadly aren't anymore. So now we have to look at the 8 other players for Baltimore to see who is kept, waived, and retired on an aging, over the hill, do we say, Baltimore team. All right, the first player Baltimore needs to look at is Chris Cannizzaro. Wasn't really even associated with the Orioles. He was signed as a free agent catcher, someone to back up Earl Williams. Chris is known as the first San Diego All-Star in '69. See the big star there? See that? He actually was better in '70 and didn't go to the All-Star game because of Dick Dietz and Johnny Bench, of course. We played the '72 card because it had a really nice on-base percentage. A '73 and '74 performance may or may not exist. Either way, he doesn't get waivers with a '73 card with the Dodgers. We can double check this by looking to see if he's on the Dodgers roster in '73. I don't expect him to be there. Oh, but he is. Weird. Well. I don't know what this is going to do. Not much, really, except add a guy to the waiver list, which is helpful. Probably won't get claimed. Cannizzaro, there he is, a '73 card with the Dodgers. And here are the stats. 21 at-bats, and they made the Strat card. Weird. 190 with a 280 on base. That could be an interesting platoon split with an on base 90 points above the batting average. Anyway, the good news is there should be a card we can add to the waiver wire, which is nice because we have a lot of retirements thus far. I think one of the reasons we have a lot of retirements thus far is I think the '69 expansion has worn itself out. The 1969 expansion exploded with offense, but by 1972 the pitching caught up and the offense was sagging tremendously. So in '73 they added the DH to the American League and that jolted the offense again. But this is the '72 exodus, guys leaving, and there's going to be a lot of retirees, we believe. All right, but not Chris Cannizzaro. Next player, Tom Hutton. He's got a nice '77 card, I believe. Defensive-minded first baseman, slap hitter, lefty kind of dude there. You know, always had a really decent batting average. '77, he gets 309. Can't get this card quite yet. Gotta wait a year. We got '73 to '76 to consider. '76 we'll get waivers. And frankly, for Baltimore, you're getting really close to the Eddie Murray territory. You have Lee May who could play first base. You don't really need him. You could put this guy on waivers as well, because he doesn't really have an association with Baltimore. We need guys on the waiver wire. Let's put him there. Tom Hutton. If there aren't enough guys to keep, we'll keep him, but I think there'll be. Next player is Lee May, and he is the keeper that basically boots Hutton off the team. So now Lee May, we played the '72 card, which wasn't even with, it was 2 teams ago, it was the Houston card, I believe. Might have been Cincinnati card. Lee May, so there, he's got a real hat right there for Pete's sakes. Interesting stats are coming up here. So yeah, we played the '72 Houston card because of a higher batting average, 833 OPS. And then he's now over 800 again. 71 was the last good year in Cincinnati with 39 home runs. Goes to the Dome. It doesn't go well. He sent the Baltimore by 75. Now 76, he leads the American League in RBI, for what that's worth. Is 9th in MVP voting. So that's probably the card the Orioles will take. But it doesn't really matter. If you take a Houston card, Oriole card, doesn't matter. He's their property. They made the deal. He leads the league in RBI, 76. Just for fun, I could put notes in here. I got a comment section there. I can put notes in for when I'm forecasting which year to take. The fourth hitter is Earl Williams. Now, I think there's one more year left with Baltimore here. Earl was not what they thought they were going to get when they let Davey Johnson and his 43 home runs walk to Atlanta. But Earl had a magical 71, 33 dingers, 260. And in 72, the card we just played, 28. Pretty much a similar year, 5 fewer homers. Baltimore said that we want him in our park. He's only 24 years old in 73. And he has a couple seasons in Baltimore. After that, he's back in Atlanta. So he's got plenty of years to choose from. And you know what? A catcher, you got to look at how good a catcher with 22 homers is and not sneeze at it. So I'm going to keep Earl Williams. I know he's got 2 more years in Baltimore anyway. You don't put a guy on waivers who can catch in at 22 home runs. Sorry. So whether it was worth the trade or not is not the cost here. It's a sunk. It doesn't matter. The trade's already happened. So you just got to stick with Earl and get the remaining portion of those stats. All right, we got 4 pitchers, beginning with Cuellar. He's going to be a keeper. We'll just write it in here now. The guys you want to keep, you give them a $10,000 deal. Guys you put on waivers, you get $100 and wish them good luck in a suitcase. And when you retire a guy, he frames a dollar bill. The first dollar he ever got playing baseball, I think, is the... Anyway. So let's go take a look at Cuellar here. Eventually in the timeline, he's going to start being pretty bad by 77. But we're not there yet for Mike. Something to remember here. When he arrived in Baltimore, here's some interesting stats to consider here. So, he had never won 20 games. He arrives in Baltimore. He's 32 years old. He's 32 years old. His career record is right around 500. Never won 20 games. And then he's 32 and he wins 67 games in 3 years. So, but the 72 card we just played had the lowest whip, 107. Next 4 years, the ERA goes from 3.27 to 4.96. So you can pick any card you want. 22 game winner in 74. All-Star and Cy Young voting. So we can highlight that in the note section. Mike Cuellar's coming back. Next, Milt Pappas. Milt was brought back for a 1-year deal. Milt was the famous part of the Frank Robinson deal. Long career for Milt. And by 72, you see, he left Baltimore in 65 as a good pitcher, by the way. That was a good year for him when he got traded to the Reds. And then in the Braves, and then the Cubs. In 72, heck of a good year for the Cubs. 9th in Cy Young voting through a no-hitter. Almost a perfect game. 73, 162 innings. Pretty ordinary. I put him on waivers because he's no longer associated with Baltimore. And you're probably going to have 4 guys you want to keep. So, Milt Pappas, put on waivers. We have 2 more pitchers. The first guy is Baylor Moore. A really fascinating career for this kid. You know, who knows how good the Expos would have been if this flamethrower would have stayed healthy at the beginning of his career. So here it is, 72, has this incredible year. Then he fades in 73, hurts his arm in 74, is out of the game, makes a comeback attempt in 77. But the strikeouts, you gotta go back to 72 for a second. Don't overlook this. 147 and 2/3 innings, 122 hits, 59 walks, 161 strikeouts. I mean, that's Nolan Ryan-ish. The strikeout walk ratio and strikeouts per 9 innings, 9.8 strikeouts per 9 innings. 122 whip. 73 card exists. Another guy you should consider waivers for, because the card exists, before he turns into a pumpkin. As a lefty, Baylor Moore will have some value if you can get lefties out, because you can put them in the bullpen. All you need a left-handed pitcher to do is get lefties out. Next guy is Joe Horland. Was with the White Sox. And this is, he'll be retired. It was his last year. 72, this is the card we just played. It was a nice card, a 111 whip. It was the lowest whip since 67. All with, oh, he got a ring. So he went to Oakland in 72. This bugger got himself a World Series ring with the A's after leaving the White Sox. Look at that. Alright, so what we're going to do is retire Mr. Horland. So they have 3 guys they want to keep. If you really want to keep Cannizzaro or Hutton or Pappas or Moore, you're more than welcome to. And I think Baltimore's going to get on the... They got a wheel and deal. They got to find a better keeper. And they got guys they could ship out, you know. So they could move Wayne Garland to Cleveland if they wanted to. Dyer Miller. They don't need guys like that. But anyway, Baltimore's going to keep 3, waive 4, retire 1. They need to get to 4 keepers, 2 waives, and 2 retires before the draft. Plenty of off-season to figure all that out. Thanks for checking out this Eliminating the Baltimore Orioles video. We'll see you next time.